Good evening. We call this regular session, this work session of the Columbia County Board of Education to order, and welcome you who are present this evening. On behalf of the board and Superintendent Flynn, we appreciate your presence and involvement in our school district. Our regularly scheduled board meetings are a time for the Board of Education, superintendents, conducting business in each school district in a transparent public format to ensure our meeting goes smoothly, efficiently, and efficiently. We ask everyone to maintain an appropriate level of decorum at all times. Please abstain from any conduct that would be disruptive or disrespectful. We ask our students, families, and those who joined us this evening to celebrate special recommendations or recognitions to remain until all acknowledgments and board comments have been made. Thereafter, we'll take a short break and I'll dismiss those participating in this meeting. At this time, if you would please silence your cell phones or other communication devices. Again, thank you for being here this evening. This time, I'd like to call on Pastor Bill Hilly of Grace Baptist Church for our invocation.
Thank you for being here. Let me pray for us this evening. Father God, thank you for today, for your love and your goodness to us, and thank you for Columbia County Board of Education and our education system. We're so grateful for the quality education system for our children. We're grateful for the folks in this room who in large part make that possible. So I pray your blessing upon all. I know it's been a busy summer, but we're grateful that we're ready for another school year. And what I just pray that this might be our greatest school year ever. I pray for our board members. I pray for our administrators. I pray for our superintendent, for all those who support staff there. And I pray for each principal and each assistant principal, each teacher, each coach, and each support staff member for the school. Lord, I just pray that in every situation those lives might be blessed. They would understand the responsibility that's theirs to teach our young people the precious gift these children are to our county and to us. And so I pray it would be a great year for each student as well. They would come back from summer relaxed and ready for a great year, and I pray they would apply themselves and do all they can to make the most of another school year. Father, I just pray that your heavenly angels stand guard over each student and over our system. Father, I pray that you just do a great work, that our students might grow, they might grow in their knowledge of this world and of our community, and also the things of God, and not just understand the great responsibility that's there, having been such a blessing to be a part of a community like this. I pray that you take charge of all that's said and done tonight. And for all that you accomplish in this time, we'll give you all praise and thanks, and I ask these things in the name of my Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Yes, sir. This time, I'd like to call on the Greenboro High School NJROTC to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and y'all will stand. Thank you, Greenbrier. Just to let you know who that was, led by Master Gunnery Sergeant Perry Barbara Savage, that was Don Perry, Leah Campbell, Sophia Dodd, Sophia Passmore, and Reesius Pettit. Thank you very much, Greenbrier. Next, I entertain a motion to approve the agenda. All in favor, raise your hand. Okay, our agenda is approved. At this time, do we have any more comments or acknowledgements that anyone would like to make at this time?
Thank everybody for coming out tonight, being with us. All our staff for getting ready and getting us cranked up for our new year. We're looking forward to it. And Kelly, we thank you for your being here with us tonight. Thank you for our OTC.
Deacon's already started back, so we have.
So see how our summers are long.
A longer summer, and I've heard people very thankful for that, so.
All right, well, thank both of y'all. Any other comments? If not, at this time, I will turn it over to Dr. Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, board members.
Look, I did skip this part, I'm sorry. If anyone would like to leave after this portion of the meeting, you're welcome to. Okay, now you can go.
We're at that point in the agenda where we're at the approval of the consent items. Those are listed for you to take up with one vote. If you would like to remove an item to discuss, now would be the time. If not, we recommend approval of the consent items as presented.
Make a motion to accept the consent items as presented.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of approval of consent items 6A through F, please raise your right hand. Seeing none, the consent items are approved.
Thank you, board members. As you know, this is a work session and our last meeting before the start of school on August 4th. We're looking forward to that and are gearing up and ready from our end, looking forward to getting last finishing touches on the schools over the next couple of weeks. I'll go through the introductions and say a couple of words, and then I'll turn it over to the staff who've been really working hard to prepare these presentations for you. Tonight, the discussion topic and presentation is on NexGen Cyber Update. This has been an ongoing initiative that Ms. Gregg, our Chief Academic Officer, will give us an update on. When she finishes that, if you do have any other questions around academics for this school year, since this will be our last meeting, feel free to ask her or me. We'll move into staff reports. We'll start with our Associate Superintendent, Ms. Jackson, on operations update. We'll be going through all things operations as far as school this year. So if there's something that she didn't cover that you'd like to discuss around operations, that would be a good time to ask any questions around that. We'll move into also our Associate Superintendent, Dr. Carroll, giving us a school improvement update, which will also talk about what schools have been doing over the summer in preparation for school improvement this year, working with all of our principals and schools. If you have any questions about that or any other area around school academics, she would be the one to ask. And then finally, we'll finish up with a staff report from our Chief Human Resources Officer, Mr. Wright. Obviously, we like to be fully staffed before the start of school, so he'll give us an update. You heard it 2 weeks ago. We've had a lot of progress, and his team's been working really hard, so we're looking forward to hearing a little bit more about that. So with no further ado, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Ms. Gregg. Looking forward to hearing an update on this NexGen Cyber. A lot of work that's been going on for a couple of years.
Thank you, Dr. Flint. Good evening, board. This evening's NexGen Cyber Update provides key information surrounding our efforts to enhance and engage our students and teachers with the tools and experiences to help them thrive in the digital environment. Our district's vision and mission outline our efforts to lead the nation in educational excellence, where students are engaged, enriched, and inspired as they work to provide each student challenging content in a supportive environment. The NexGen Cyber work is an example of our district's vision and mission in action. This initiative provides us the opportunity to serve as a model district and as a beacon of cyber excellence for not only the state, but across the nation as we engage students in learning opportunities that equip them to thrive in the cyber ecosystem. This work not only aligns our district's overall mission and vision, but equally aligns to Goal 1 of our district's strategic plan, maximum achievement and success for each student. The development of the NexGen Cyber ACE would not be possible without partnerships and advisement of the larger task force. The task force includes school-based, district, and community partnerships such as Fort Gordon, CSRA Alliance, and the Army Cyber Center of Excellence, the CCSD cyber teachers, as well as our pilot school teachers and administrators. These individuals have been instrumental in helping us to shape and inform the NexGen Cyber ACE development. This timeline provides a glimpse into the NexGen cyber work over the last 3 years. In 22-23, our focus was the development of the Cyber Task Force itself, as well as outlining our purpose and direction for the work. With a strong task force of key stakeholders, the team developed the draft version of our NexGen Cyber ACE standards. During the 23-24 school year, the 4 pilot schools began working with the NexGen standards and provided ongoing feedback that helped to shape the adjustment of the standards. This feedback also led to the development of a glossary of terms as well as sample activities. Cyber-related opportunities across all levels were expanded this year as well. During the 24-25 school year, we expanded the NexGen work by adding 9 additional pilot schools. These schools created school-level advisory teams and provide ongoing feedback throughout the year. The addition of the schools allowed us to gain critical insight and feedback for teacher teams and school representatives as they work to develop strategies and lessons, align standards with core content, discuss integration options and staff needs, and inform our next steps. Our goal with the integration of the NexGen standards is not only to equip our students and enhance their skill set, but to do so in an integrated and organic manner by embedding the NexGen standards into our core ACE courses. The ongoing feedback from pilot school teachers has helped identify the placement of our NexGen standards. It's informed professional learning needs for staff, and it provided critical insight for the alignment and assisted in the development of the sample activities and lessons for our K-8 soft launch. As we look ahead to the coming school year, we're excited about the K-8 soft launch for NexGen Cyber. This year, our teachers will see NexGen standards referenced on the ACE here-at-a-glance documents. They will also have access to sample lessons by standard and a glossary of terms to promote teacher clarity. Our goal is to engage teachers in the use of sample lessons with core courses across K-8. Select schools will pilot artificial intelligence tools for students and teachers as well. Ongoing feedback regarding the standards, the sample lessons, the AI tools, alignment and placement will be collected and used to make adjustments and shape the integration of the NexGen standards within the academic curriculum for excellence. As with the implementation of any new idea, strategy, or approach, we must be committed to providing professional learning, development, and support to our teachers and schools. We will provide monthly strategies and support to school-based instructional specialists to help them provide ongoing guidance and support to their teachers in the buildings. The feedback, challenges, and successes will be shared at monthly meetings to inform and improve the ongoing development and implementation of our NexGen curriculum. As we move throughout the year, our pilot high schools will continue to refine the 9-12 NexGen standards as we work on the placement of NexGen standards within the high school ACE courses. District grade band teacher teams will convene to develop NexGen resources so that learning opportunities are naturally part of core learning when possible. Lastly, we'll create a pathway for our expert teachers to submit and share successful lessons and resources that can be shared with all CCSD teachers. Expanding robotics offerings is also part of the NexGen Cyber initiative. Some of our elementary schools and high schools have been using and working with robotics through specific courses and clubs. During the 24-25 school year, VEX robotics kits were provided for each elementary school. Students have been engaged in STEM labs and lessons during their Learning Commons rotation throughout the year. Schools have shared success stories and challenges, and they've provided valuable insight as we continue to develop the ACE for elementary robotics. During collaborative opportunities, we will continue to align resources, identify lessons, and link the NexGen standards to ensure that robotics opportunities at the elementary level give students the experiences they need to engage in more complex opportunities during middle and high school. Moving forward, we will continue monthly collaborative meetings to gain feedback on the labs and activities and lessons implemented throughout the year. As key resources and lessons are identified, we will develop an instructional guide that will outline the lessons, resources, and enrichment opportunities for students. To equip our elementary students with the skills associated with robotics that are necessary. Some of our high school students and middle school students are currently engaged in competitions where they showcase their complex coding and robotic skills. It will be our goal at the elementary level to identify and design a showcase opportunity for our elementary students as well. During the spring of this year, Harlem Middle and Columbia Middle participated in a pilot implementation using the VEX robotics. This pilot engaged 6th through 8th grade students in the use of the VEX IQ and the VEX EXP robotics kits and provided valuable insight into the materials, quantities, and implementation approach needed for our middle school robotics program. Robotics at the middle school will be implemented through the computer science and/or engineering courses offered during Connections classes. During early July, our CCSD Connections teachers met to develop a 45-day instructional plan which outlines key lessons and experiences that will shape the development of the ACE for middle school robotics. At the high school level, robotics is offered through a variety of options. Our cyber and engineering classes and/or clubs use the VEX V5 robotics product to engage students during class and/or through competitions annually. With the implementation of VEX robotics at the middle school level, we will look to design a district robotics competition for all of our middle and high schools. The development of a district competition will create a collaborative opportunity for the instructors at all 5 high schools as well as the middle schools to design a competition that allows students to showcase the progression of their robotic skill sets from middle to high school. The consistent use of these resources across K-12 will ensure that we are creating a seamless and smooth transition from elementary to middle and middle to high. Our goal for students is to ensure that their experiences prepare them for post-secondary successes and career environments where cutting-edge technology and skill sets such as critical thinking and problem solving are used. At this time, I'll pause if you have any questions about robotics or our NexGen Cyber Initiative.
Yes, you mentioned AI tools. Any examples you can share with us at this time?
Yes, we are piloting Brisk Teaching and School AI. Brisk Teaching and School AI.
This is going, sorry,
Go ahead.
we're implementing all grades, K through 12, all schools.
NexGen Cyber or robotics. So we have a K-8 soft launch for NexGen Cyber,
All schools.
all schools. And then our robotics is K-12 across all schools. And the AI pilots are at just specific elementary, middle, and high schools.
How did you pick those?
We let them choose. They reached out to us if they wanted to participate in the pilot.
The elementary showcase, you mentioned, any idea when that was our target date for that?
The robotics kit most is closely associated with the skill set needed for the competition is 4th and 5th grade level. So it will probably take us, I would say, a couple of years to get our students adequately prepared for that. But they may have some opportunities within their school building to do some individual school-based competitions, but a district competition would be at least a few years out.
Could you tell us when the middle school robotics will be part of connections classes?
That will start this year.
And it's in 2 classes.
It's in the computer science class and/or engineering. Some of our middle schools have engineering connections classes, so it could be in that as well.
So it's not going to be a standalone connections class?
It will be embedded in computer science and/or the engineering.
So we're not adding any connections classes to middle school?
They're not adding any new classes, no. Those standards that are related to the robotics at the middle school level are the same, are some of the same standards that are already part of the computer science and engineering classes. So it goes right along with the existing curriculum that is already available for those classes.
Okay, so it's going to be new instructional activities.
It will be. Our teachers created a 45-day plan, so it'll last for one 9-week period. And they came together this month, early July, and developed that plan together.
So will the course last more than one 45-day period to teach computer science as it was? And then and a new approach as well, or they're going to do all this in 45 days?
The robotics instructional plan is just a 45-day period plan. So it will go for just those 45 days.
And then computer science, as we previously taught it, will that be a different 45-day connection?
Mr. Smith, want to speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, the computer science will continue to be taught in the 45-day, 9-week rotation. This just enhances with those. Some of our middle schools only have one non-fine CTA teacher, while some have 3. So we're trying to make sure that all 8 middle schools have the same access to these opportunities, whether they have one non-fine arts CTA connection teacher or they have 3, just depending on their size. So all middle schools will have access to the robotics. Some of them have an engineering teacher and computer science, while some just have computer science.
This won't replace, it'll just enhance what they're currently doing.
I'm trying to get clarification. When you say enhance, does that mean it is part of that same computer class, or is it a 45-day block for robotics and then a separate 45-day block for computer science?
No, it's not. It means that the standards associated with the computer science course as it currently exists overlap with the standards related to robotics. So those activities and lessons related to robotics can be used to accomplish the same computer science standards that were existing. They just didn't have those materials previously or opportunities. They did and achieve those standards in different ways.
As far as embedding NexGen standards into the core curriculum, what does that look like? What does that look like for math class, for ELA class, for science class?
So what the pilot schools did this year and have been involved in, and what they'll continue to be involved in, is identifying where in a regular core course, whether that be reading, math, science, social studies, writing, that the NexGen standard most appropriately lives. Once they've identified where that is, then we would look for ways to allow the students to display, either introduce them to that standard, give them the opportunity to practice it, or at some point give them an opportunity to master it within the course of what they're already doing, so that they and teachers don't feel like they're doing something in an isolated fashion.
When you say the NexGen is a K-8 soft launch this year, do you mean it's already in the curriculum?
It means we have the standards aligned to core subjects, and we have some sample activities, but not a full curriculum or a complete curriculum at this time.
Okay. And is this academic, or is this also kind of social media conversations? Is it ethics brought in, ethical use of technology? Or
It would be a variety of applications. It depends on the particular NexGen standard and how that would look for the appropriate grade band. So obviously, a NexGen standard would look much different at the K-1 level than the 6-8 or the 9-12. So it would depend on the standard itself and how that standard is designed for that group of students and what would be age appropriate for them.
So not necessarily just math and science, but also ethical use of technology and things, ethics or character lessons.
Some of our digital citizenship lessons that are a state requirement would accomplish some of the NexGen standards. So there's some things that we have been doing already that meet the NexGen standards, but this would allow us just to make sure that we fold those in an organic manner so that teachers don't feel like they're teaching things in isolation.
It's not teaching a different curriculum, it's using the curriculum that teachers are going to teach according to the course they're teaching, but it's intentionally using the NexGen cyber curriculum as it applies to the curriculum they teach.
Yes, that is correct.
Is this primarily, I mean, I take it it's computer-based, obviously it's technology, right? So on an average day for, say, a first grader, how much time are they spending on a computer screen learning? Are those measurements by grade or?
I think that varies depending on the application that they're doing. We do try to preserve as much face-to-face time between the teacher and the student as possible and limit our time that we have students in front of the computer. So our teachers are the primary teaching, the individual in the classroom teaching, and then there's support opportunities through online programs and applications. But I would say that the teacher is primarily the main mode of the instructional provider for the classroom, and that's very important for us and part of our curriculum as well.
So incorporating these lesson plans, does that increase the amount of time kids spend on a computer during their school day?
No, not all of the standards themselves would lend themselves to being on a computer. Some are competencies and understanding, some are how to navigate the social media platforms or applications responsibly. So some of them aren't done on a computer at all. They're understandings.
I have a few more questions, so I'll take a step back in case anybody else wanted to jump in.
Of 180 districts in our state, approximately. Are we on the cutting edge of this? Is anybody else implementing this, or would you say we're ahead?
I would say that it is an initiative that we are ahead of the game on, and Dr. Flint could probably speak to that better than I can. But do you want to speak to that?
I think we heard from the community that we're working, they're very supportive, obviously.
Yeah, and that's why we brought in a number of other partners, so we made sure that we did it right. It being integrated in each of the classes was, from the get-go, one of our priorities, so we didn't have a standalone separate class. And then we'll be following up on these standards and adjusting them, because over the next couple of years, especially as the students learn the standards in earlier grades, they might need something different. So for K through 8 right now, what we may be doing in 5th, we may have to roll some of those back. So we're going to have to look at this each year. There are a number of school districts that are looking at initiatives similar to this, but most of them didn't start this 3 years ago. And most of them don't have the resources that we have right next door that have been involved. As y'all remember, we had Major General Stanton when he was the commanding officer come over and speak at one of our board meetings, which was, he was very excited about it, and we really appreciate the engagement that the board had on it. It still does, so they've been extremely helpful. So yeah, I think it's a mixed bag. Ms. Teasley, you were able to attend a conference with me. I was able to do a little bit of a presentation. It was really focused on AI. And so through this NexGen work, it was a little less than a year ago, we split off a task force on AI because it's going to be so intensive for the adjustment of students over the next couple of years. And so through this, we've added that task force. It's already come up with guidelines for teachers and students around what Ms. Allen was asking. ethical and practical use of AI. And then that also led to us knowing that we really needed a tool that we could start to pilot that was in, one, it followed the laws. So open AI or generative AI right now is not something we can just open up to students because there's so many laws that are for good reason, a protection for students. And so what these tools will allow them to do is see how generative AI and generative AI work and learn to develop prompts. And as we know, that's one of the most important tools right now in the proper use of AI. And so getting that information out to our teachers to start to work with that with students. A lot of that happens not on a screen though. A lot of that happens in a discussion. The Internet of Things is really real now. They're everywhere, and a student may not know what that is. And so knowing the connection of devices just across our world is going to be something that students are going to need to know earlier and earlier and earlier and understand those connections. And so those are just a few of the things, and I think we heard a good bit of that through that conference, but I think that was one of the reasons they asked us to present there as well, because we've already had a good bit of work happen on this. And got some great professionals, and if you go out into our schools and talk to some of the teachers that have been on the cutting edge of this, I mean, they're just incredible. And we probably ought to bring in one of those one day to talk about either the robotics or some of the things that they're doing, because it really is engaging the students. It is something that, a local group was really interested in and provided us a $500,000 grant also. And so that's why we've been able to fully outfit every school with robotics. And this is the first year really we've been able to do that, because we're in the second year of that grant. It's a 5-year grant. So there's a lot of good work going on. We'd be happy to bring back individual pieces to kind of have that discussion. But we thought we'd start out, since this year was kind of that launch for KA, to give you an overview of it before we get into the school year.
One of my other questions was, has this curriculum gone through the requirements as far as being put out for public review and all of that?
The NexGen initiative is not a full-on curriculum right now. So, and it's created by our teachers. It's not something necessarily that we purchased. We have robotics kits that come with lessons. But our NexGen initiative is, at this point, standards and sample lessons created by our teachers. So it wouldn't necessarily, our teachers aren't asked to vet their own lessons that they create. Part of the vetting process is embedded in when they create that lesson. If we were purchasing a full-on NexGen curriculum, then we would follow that. But the standards themselves that we have and the sample activities are created by our teachers here in the district. They're not purchased.
But because we've created the instructional materials, they're not subject to the legal review process where the public has to review them and have an opportunity to weigh in on them.
The instructional material is the regular course content. You're just using NexGen to devise lesson plans to teach the core curriculum of any given course. So that part hasn't changed. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, ma'am.
As it applies to robotics or AI or any of the other things we're discussing, if I'm understanding it correctly.
It would be like taking a standard for mathematics and the teacher creating a lesson around that standard. That's similar to what we're putting out there for our teachers to in the soft launch at this point. It's not a purchased curriculum out there from a company.
It wouldn't be any different if we were using like a reading course and deciding how we're going to teach reading, whether we're going to use phonics or whole language. I mean, what teaching techniques you're going to use to teach that curriculum?
Does it, well, I think this is a good question for Mr. Fletcher to clarify for me. Is it that it's supplementary ancillary materials, that it's not subject to 1017's review process? Or at what point would it evolve to where we would have to do that review process to make sure that we're doing things the correct way?
First off, I don't know if I can get an answer. This is all news to me tonight. It's not something I was prepped for, but I really can't give an answer on that right now. But if it's not additional materials, I don't see where it would fall under that process. But as I said, without seeing everything, I don't know. Everything, as far as my knowledge, is more about concepts and what's about materials. I don't think it falls under that process. Is that?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Anytime we go out and purchase an instructional material, that may fall into that. But in this case, we're talking about standards. This may be similar to, we would take students through a little bit of an orientation before we give them a computer to use. How do you turn it on? How do you navigate it? How do you use the mouse? How do you use the keyboard? That's technology usage. This is very similar. It'll just be expanded, K8.
I guess I'm just coming away, now I'm really confused, I guess, because I'm coming away with this is something we're embedding into our core curriculum with lesson plans, which to me sounds like instructional materials, which is why instructional materials and triggers community input and the whole process that I want to make sure that we're staying on the correct side of.
Well, let me maybe make another example. So our teachers are also creating lessons and lesson plans for, let's just take an example for maybe biology, that's a simple one. They will be able to share those with other teachers. Now they fall under standards because they may be teaching the part itself, but our teachers will create that lesson plan and how to teach it and how that would be presented to students. And in that lesson plan, that may be shared district-wide if it's a very good one. But that's not subject to what you're asking because it's not a purchased curriculum. It's not a purchased material to supplement those standards or instructional materials or even supplementary materials.
As a purchased curriculum is the dividing line.
Yes, our teachers always have the freedom to create a lesson based on a standard.
Okay.
Without the vetting process.
So if the community wanted to review it, or do parents have access to these lessons when their children do them?
All of our instructional materials are accessible by our community. We have, so our families would be able to see the standards if they wanted to.
As part of the lesson plans that their children are doing during the school day?
It could, yes, ma'am.
The work kids do at home. What they do with class, right?
And I would say my last question is, have we seen, when we did the pilot programs, did we see, what was the average increase in math scores and reading scores and testing scores as a result of this new, these lesson plans and programs?
At the pilot schools, they've just started implementing trying out lessons in classroom. There would not have been the ability to track any improvement or even a baseline score because we're not at we were never at a full implementation. And what they did in the pilot schools was to refine the standards, develop and refine the standards over the last couple of years, and then identify sample activities that could be used to teach that standard. So you wouldn't have been able to measure any increase in performance without a full implementation.
Do we have a plan in 3 to 5 years that will evaluate and make sure that this translated into increased scores in those courses?
Within the initiative, we look for ways to measure effectiveness, whether that's a score or improved competencies or depending on what our goal is for that initiative, we always look to measure effectiveness. So we would, once this is fully implemented and embedded in our core courses in a solid manner across K-12, we would look to measure effectiveness of this for our students.
I think in the past, we found that something doesn't work, and you take it back to the
according to the reports we had at spring, we're growing in academic in all areas as well as.
Absolutely, and
We've done a good job in showing our growth of the district,
Yes.
graduation rate.
Yes, absolutely, and we're committed to making sure we take our teacher input and continue to refine their ACE. And that's the beauty of our ACE, it does belong to us, so we can adjust that at any given time based on our teacher feedback for what works and what doesn't work.
It's great. Thank you very much for answering my questions.
Absolutely, thank you.
Hi, good evening. I get to do a staff report and a shout out to the directors and their teams and the work that they've been doing over the summer. So I've got an exciting part of this presentation. So our custodial team has been working all summer to get the schools ready. With the return of students and staff, we look forward to showing off their hard work as teachers and staff return next week at open house and certainly on the first day of school. FMO has been very active in getting our grounds and facilities ready. Fire inspections along with bleacher inspections and generator inspections have been completed. Gym floor screenings have taken place at our middle and high schools. Turf fields have had their annual maintenance to include removing organic infill, cleaning it and replacing infill, and grooming the field at each of our turf fields. The warehouse has been busy with opening North Columbia Elementary and the construction at Evans High School and Lakeside High School, where they've been storing materials so that the construction could take place. They've also moved textbooks and lots of paper across the district, making sure that the schools are ready to go. Mr. Sanders informed me that they started today at North Columbia moving some of the teacher belongings from the old facility to the new facility, and they're already at 70% completed with that task. So that's very encouraging. And then portables have been moved from various schools and relocated to various places. So a lot of work with FMO. Our police department, particularly our training officer, has been updating our school safety plan with our local emergency management as well as GEMA. SROs and nurses have and will be participating in prepared training that they're required to do, as well as some accessory training. And they're preparing to train the staff upon their return next week. As you know, we use an alert system called the SAFE system. The SAFE system is a duress signal transmitter that is installed in the existing audio enhancement transmitters that our teachers already wear. The duress signals can be activated by either pressing the buttons on the side or the button on the side of the wall. Once activated, the alert will send a signal to the front office kiosk and also alert the SAFE team, who will respond immediately, and that includes certainly our SROs, police, and so forth. As a reminder, this started as a 3-year project, and Mr. Van Meter and his staff, along with our police officers and technology folks, have been able to implement this school year, ready to start the next school year. So very excited about that to be in place, and it fulfills House Bill 268 ahead of schedule. So last spring, we piloted the suicide prevention programs for grades 6 through 12 called Signs of Suicide at both Evansville and Evans High. Through a series of videos and discussion questions, students are equipped on how to identify signs of depression and suicide and to recognize potential at-risk comments or behaviors made by other peers. School staff members are trained prior to the classroom lessons, and the lessons for students take place in about one class period, 45 minutes, and last approximately, like I said, 45 minutes. Parents are certainly welcome to review the material, and there's an opt-out option as well for this program. It's been used across the state of Georgia, and our two principals spoke today with our principals very highly of the pilot at both Evansville and Evans High, so we will roll that out this coming year. And as a reminder, that is also part of House Bill 268 with that program. School nutrition, free and reduced lunch and breakfast applications for the coming year are now ready. Families may complete this application online through our website, or opt for a paper version, which can be distributed at our school's open houses. School nutrition staff will also be available at open house to help with this process, and there'll be computers available as well. As a reminder, there was some changes in meal cost, and those have been published in our Back to School magazine as well as on our website. Parents are encouraged to utilize Easy School Pay to make online payments for student accounts. And finally, we're excited about the new and improved online menus. They're going to be interactive and specific to each school, so managers will have some input on some of the favorites that the children are liking. Families will always know what's on the table at their school. Our bus drivers will be picking up their buses on July 28th through July 30th for practice runs. The buses have been cleaned and serviced and prepared over the summer for another excellent, and received another excellent review from our state inspector. For bus number and route information, bus riders should utilize the Find My Bus Stop link. It is essential that parents and students check this link for bus information. Parents are encouraged to track routes with Edgelog Like School Bus Tracker app. It's a great tool to track buses, and our schools utilize it as well. We'll continue to monitor school bus loads and are prepared to make any changes as we see that need to be made based on student ridership. Bus drivers will also be available at open house to answer questions and share route information. As always, the first week of school can be very hectic, and parents dropping off students, and so car lines become congested, and waiting a few days for the bus loads to get back on schedule. So please be patient. We look forward to providing a smooth and safe ride for our students across the district. And tomorrow, it's in the agenda, but the AAA Back to School event will be at North Harlem Elementary at 11 a.m. and we will be excited to host that again. As you know, we've been adding cameras to our school buses over the last couple of years. We would like to add the cameras to all of our route buses. We're looking forward to, or we're looking at monitoring students as needed for anything that we have to help with investigations through administration, code of conduct violations, but also it's real-time information for our transportation department with vehicle data, such as bus locations, their speed, warning lights, how many times they press the brakes, and all that's logged in real time that we can also monitor and keep up with using those cameras. So that's exciting. And this was not on my PowerPoint, but looking at Ms. Teasley made me think about it. But we are continuing with our Burke Health for our athletic trainers. And it worked out very nicely last year, how we were fully staffed and they were very reliable for us. And so they're going to continue with that partnership this school year as well at all 5 of our high schools. If you remember, prior to that, we had some hit or miss with, so we're excited about continuing that partnership with Burke Health with our trainers. Yes.
Jackson, on the cameras, is someone answer or tell us how many buses have cameras and how many more we need?
Well, we're looking right now at around 207 for all of our route buses, and that would give us fully coverage on all of our buses. We'd have to purchase around 207 if we do only the route buses, which we're making that recommendation. So
That's something we've already budgeted, or
we're going to be,
yeah.
How do we verify who's getting on the buses?
pardon?
How do we verify who's getting on the buses, that they're supposed to be getting on there, or, you know, say students that transfer across town school, they've gone by voucher or something, and maybe it's the parent's responsibility to bring the child to school to get, how do we prevent that from, or say, take advantage of the bus stops and utilize something they're not supposed to be using, or even just the wrong kid getting on the bus?
Yeah, our bus drivers, our younger kids, they have, we call it like an ID tag, and it's on their book bag. So they get on the bus, and we ask that they get on the bus with their book bag facing forward so the bus driver can see their tag. And our school, elementary schools, have done a really good job with making sure that that's monitored so the driver can see and know who's getting on the bus and their address. And if we have a substitute bus driver, that's also helpful to them because they don't remember their address. Even our high school kids oftentimes can't remember their actual physical address. They know how to get the bus driver there, but that's a great question. But we have our routes. We put all of our kids that are in our system in Infinite Campus, their address is loaded. And so we never know who's getting on the bus and who's not. We know that there's a Columbia County student at that address. And so they get on the bus and then they sometimes ride, they sometimes don't. It's hit or miss with who's actually getting on the bus. But we do know over time we get a roster, and over time our drivers recognize who's normally on that bus and who's normally not. So
They get really good.
yes.
Who's on the bus. Well, even if you live in that neighborhood and you thought you could ride home that day, you might not get on the bus.
And they have, like I
It's
said,
not a form, right? There's a form.
they do, and they get rosters, and if they're gonna ride a different bus, ride home to someone else, they have to get permission to do that and turn it into the office to get that information.
Just can't decide if you're home with somebody.
We can pull up the information and look and see every stop that has, every Columbia County student resides at every stop, and we know where that's at, and whether they choose to ride the bus or not, we're not always sure of that, so.
Can you just give me a little information that came up from a conversation with some parents the other day, as far as if there's a threat made to a school, then we'll have to communicate with parents and how fast we communicate with parents. I think on the cell phone, that would,
Yes.
concerns.
That's a great question. I hate to say it depends on the circumstances, on how fast we get information out, but we do a pretty good job, knock on wood, of making sure that if there's a threat that we need to notify, if we're going into lockdown, we're going to send that information out as quickly as possible so that
30 minutes, 15 minutes, next.
I would say within that time period. Now, if it's under investigation or if there's a reason that we might not need to get that information out too quickly, then we would pause and make sure that everyone is safe to do so. But
Be the letter the next day saying.
we try to get our letters out there the day of, no later than the day of. And when we do any sort of lockdown, we try to get it out as soon as possible because we do know that parents start. And we will certainly continue to make every effort to get that out. Because we realize with the cell phones that that's going to be a concern. And so certainly making a continued effort that we get that information out, we give them as much information as possible, and certainly entertain phone calls. We had that conversation with admin just today that when they call the front office, our staff, we are going to be there and readily available to get them the answers to the questions that they need and messages to their students and vice versa. If students need to reach out to their parent, we will certainly help them do that. And remind, the app, we send out reminds quickly, so.
As far as discipline goes, one of the biggest, I think, things that came up over and over when I've talked to bus drivers was discipline issues on the bus. Do we have kind of a 3 strikes, you're out type of policy, or what? Do we have a standardized policy for misbehavior on the bus, or where is all that set?
Well, just like with a lot of our infractions on the code of conduct, if it's happening on the bus, certainly we deal with that individual, and the administration is going to investigate it, and then depending on the level of the severity of whatever the consequences may be, we'll follow the code of conduct just like if it was in the classroom. We certainly do suspend off the bus if it's because it is a privilege. But it's also one of those things, just like in the classroom, we don't kick them out of the classroom for every infraction, but we work with them on a progressive style of discipline. But if it's something that necessitates them being removed from the bus, we absolutely would entertain that and enforce some sort of option in that area. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Next, we have Dr. Kristen Carroll, School Improvement Update.
Good evening. All right, tonight I'm going to begin with an overview of summer school, which was held May 29th and concluded June 26th. We had 717 students who participated, which is a decrease of approximately 300 students from last year. Of the students that participated, 363 were high school and 81 were middle school students. The chart before you gives you the breakdown by grade level. Summer School 2025 concluded with an additional 39 students earning their high school diploma. Each year during the months of June and July, school principals convene their leadership teams to collaboratively develop the school improvement plan for the upcoming academic year for their school. In July, once faculty and staff have returned, these plans are revisited to gather feedback and make any necessary adjustments. During this planning phase, teams conduct a comprehensive analysis of both academic and non-academic data, including student achievement, attendance, discipline trends, and demographic information. This data-driven approach informs key decisions related to instructional strategies, staffing, and the development of the master schedule. Through this process, school leaders are able to identify priority areas for improvement in instructional practices that may have influenced students' outcomes for the year. The resulting goals and action steps are designed to drive continuous improvement with a strong emphasis on enhancing instructional quality to maximize student performance. All school goals are carefully aligned with the district's strategic plan to ensure coherence and collective progress towards shared objectives. Throughout the school year, implementation of the school improvement plan is closely monitored through various methods, which include data reviews, instructional walks, and collaborative planning sessions. Every 9 weeks, schools conduct a formal review of their school improvement plan and progress updates that they share with Mr. Cummings and myself. At this time, I'd like to invite Mr. Wade White, principal of Evans High School, to share his insights from their summer planning processes.
Thank you, Dr. Carroll. Good evening, board members. Thank you again for the opportunity to share some highlights from the work our team accomplished over the summer. At our campus, we approach summer as a season of preparation and purpose. While the students were away, our leadership team, including staff and counselors, were fully engaged in planning that centered on one goal, ensuring that we are ready to meet the needs of every student from the very first day of school. We started first by just looking at our own leadership development, reflecting on the past year, identifying our school's greatest needs, and building clarity around what it means to lead a school focused on continuous improvement. We worked closely as a team to ensure our planning was not only strategic, but aligned with district priorities. A major part of our summer was dedicated to our school improvement planning. Our team came together to review data, academic performance, attendance, behavior trends, and subgroup progress, and use that information to guide our discussions and decisions. We look honestly at where we are and collaboratively where we want to be. From there, we established a clear focus for this year. The goals are rooted in our data and aligned to both academic outcomes and school culture. We didn't stop at goal setting. We outlined specific, accountable steps to get us there. Every member of our team knows their role in executing those steps and how it connects to the bigger picture of student success. I also want to recognize the work of our counselors, who were very instrumental in preparing for the new year. I actually, working at Evans Middle this year, I got to sit in. We were one big happy family, and just to see them at work really made a huge impact on my outlook of what they do day in and day out. But they work with families to support student enrollment, help new students transition smoothly, and led the way in scheduling to ensure students were placed in the right courses with the right supports in place. Their attention to detail and student-centered mindsets made a significant impact on our back-to-school readiness. Overall, I am proud of the work we accomplished this summer. It was collaborative, focused, and driven by shared beliefs of what's possible for our students. We are entering this school year with a plan, a purpose, and a united team, and we're ready to deliver on our commitment to excellence. Thank you.
The moment we've all been waiting for.
Me too. Good evening. Let's get right to it. I'd like to direct your attention to the far right-hand column. Our percentages are up on the certified side, just over 99%, and on the non-certified side, that is probably as good as we've ever been at this time of the year. That's really credit to those folks there. Let's dig a little bit deeper into this. On the certified side, that represents 22 vacancies, and of those 22 vacancies, there are 2 guys that are really sticking in my craw. These are deaf and hard of hearing folks, and they are really hard to find. That's down from 4. We've got some mitigation strategies that we're looking at. If we had to start school tomorrow, we could employ them, but we just aren't satisfied with them right now. We just don't like them right now, so we're going to continue to go back to work. What is really happening in the marketplace, though, this is new to me. There are several agencies that service a high number of people in the community and in the CSRA that have deaf and hard of hearing issues. And so they're in competition with us. There are some charitable organizations that are looking for these kinds of professionals, and so they're making it a little bit tough. Years ago, we had parapros that were doing signing in our classes, and this was like, it was easy. And so the state changed the requirements on it. They've upped the ante on it. Now you have to have these EIPA professional scores. And so it's really made it hard, but nonetheless, we haven't broken the glass yet to use only in emergencies. We've got a few other things that we're going to look at and try and fill these 2 positions. So if we had to start, we still have like a week and a half before we start. And there's some other things that we're going to do to try and to get these other 2 positions filled. The other 20 positions, if you were to say we've got 32 locations that need people, several of them don't need any at all. A couple of them are K-5 positions, and so we're going to work with those schools that have K-5 vacancies. Some schools have applicants, some don't. We'll just get those 2 together and fill those in. And if worse comes to worse, we've got a number of subs that we can call, and we've got subclasses. And interestingly enough, a number of the subs that we've interviewed have certificates, not ready to go back to work full time. So we've got to convince them that this is the thing to do. But we're in good shape. On the non-certified side, ASD paraprofessionals, we had a really good turnout last week for our job fair, and we filled quite a number of those positions. So we're in a good spot. And so overall, just my gut tells me, speaking to some of my peers, I got an opportunity to listen to some district-wide briefings over the past couple of days, and just from my perspective, there's a different vibe across the district. I think we're in a really good position district-wide. I think speaking with the other leaders, not just myself, they feel really good about where they are and how school is getting ready to open. So I feel really good about it. We can't talk about, you never know, hurricanes may come, something weird, but we're in good shape, right? And so, subject to your questions.
Sir, I have a question. There's the ability now for teachers who are able to retire and then come back and work for the system.
Yes.
To what extent are we utilizing that, and has it helped this organization?
Dr. Flynn asked me that a couple of weeks ago, and our numbers on people that have been out a year ready to come back are really low. They're less than 7. It's increasing. I think part of the problem is that they don't know about it, or we're not publicizing it, or whatever, but we only have, I think, maybe 7. We're going to hit some of those folks, but the one school that has 3 vacancies, I asked her, Have you talked to some of your former retirees? Have you talked to some of these folks that, you know, part of this is if you have a great relationship with folks, they may come back and do a long-term with you, or even come back 49% and just help us out, or what have you. But to answer your question, no, we haven't had a high taker rate of that so far, but we're going to look at that definitely in some areas. I looked at the last 4 years worth of speech-language pathologists that have retired. There's a couple names on there that I know personally that I think we can get to do some pieces of a job for us, and that's all we need. We just need some folks to come in and do some pieces for us.
They do have to sit out a year.
Yes, sir. In math at the early childhood levels, science and special ed, the other areas. So.
Are they going to other areas where it's not a full-time position within that year, and they go to somewhere else
And,
that year?
yeah, they can work 49%.
So
Yeah.
maybe they're going somewhere else.
Yeah, maybe they are, but usually they'll come back to us if, you know, if we make it attractive.
What is the growth in other school opportunities in our district or in our Columbia County area? It seems like every time I turn around, there's a new school popping up somewhere. Are we finding any competition with that as far as we're not losing people who have retired who want to go work for?
I would think there are a lot of opportunities for those that retire or they go to South Carolina, but then they can come back here and do it. And those in South Carolina, we get more coming from South Carolina to us than the other way. And in terms of losing people, we just make it hard with our benefits or compensation for any other school, any other district to give us that way. It's just, and that's how we want to keep it.
And 2 years before the SLP program is finished, is that when we start getting?
Yes, and actually a year. And what we're going to start doing is recruiting their SLPAs, the four-year students, and start employing them because we now hire SLPAs. We pay them on a level which encourages them to get a master's degree, which the school requires. But if we hire them as SLPAs, and they'll move on up the chain. So that's what we're going to do. SLPAs haven't been a major problem. We keep that light on though, because we know that we're going to lose some throughout the year. We're going to get more kids in, so we're continually looking to hire them.
Thank you. Okay, that's just right.
Thank you, staff, for all the work that went into those. We'll move on to Board Policy BAB, School Board Governance. As you know, this policy, which references the plan of action to advance student achievement, has also the academic and operational accountability portions included. Since our last meeting, we've made a couple of changes, and in that, it's just really streamlined it a little bit. It really didn't change the content. We had a little bit of feedback from a few of you that maybe we could make it a little less wordy. So I think we did that, and I think it's in a really good shape. It has been sitting on the table, so unless you have any other questions, I'd recommend approval of Board Policy BAB.
So moved. Second.
Board's open for discussion. Why don't you just remind everybody that this was born out of our participation and work through the School Board Association.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, and congratulations, board members, on being a part of that. You're the one of 5 boards that's involved in the inaugural class of the Excellence in Governance Institute through the Georgia School Board Association. You know, I might be a little bit biased, but I appreciate all the work that they're doing, but y'all's work around student achievement has been very focused. And I think boards that are involved in academic achievement, and we've had a lot of curriculum discussions today, that's not something you see at all board meetings, and so kudos to y'all. I think it sets you apart from other places, and this policy definitely, not only will do it tonight, but it will lay the groundwork for the work we're going to be able to do with our principals and schools. And I think our principals appreciate that as well. They're focused on that work and appreciate kind of that alignment from the boardroom all the way to the classroom. So, great job.
And it's a work in progress, I mean, we still got more meetings.
That's right. This is just one piece of it. Obviously, we're still working on a number of others, and then we'll have the opportunity to present, or I said maybe y'all will want to present the whole thing. We'll see how that we'll see how that goes in September at the next meeting and conference. So we'll be looking forward to that.
Any other questions or discussion regarding policy BAB, school board governance? Seeing none, all in favor of adopting this board policy, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Seeing none, that's unanimously passed.
Thank you, board members. Looking forward to that work. We'll move on to the resolution of the Board of Education of Columbia County for temporary property tax relief for eligible standing timber located in the disaster area in Columbia County. Basically, this program applies to those counties that were deemed to be in a disaster area designated by FEMA from the hurricane, which obviously we qualify for. If local boards adopt this resolution, excuse me, it will forgive the timber tax collections for the fourth quarter of 2024 and all of 25. But individuals must submit the appropriate forms to the State Revenue Commission to be eligible for local governing authority to receive a reimbursement grant. And so in this case, people would be forgiven that, but the school board will still receive the same amount. So we wouldn't have a decrease in revenue, but it would benefit people in our area based on this grant. We have had legal review this, and I know Mr. Casado has worked on this well, so if you have some really specific questions, I think he can help us with that, but if not, we'd recommend approval of the resolution as presented.
So moved.
Okay, any discussion? Very good.
Just make sure we do understand this. We don't know who's going to apply for this relief.
That's right.
But if they do, then we'll get a grant from the state that reimburses us for the taxes
That they didn't have to pay.
they didn't have to pay. So they'll get relief from hurricane damage.
That's right.
And we'll be compensated for that.
That's right. Was that said correctly? I'm so sorry. All right, good.
Is there any financial risk to this at all? I mean, I'm not seeing one, I just want to clarify.
Not that I see either.
Okay.
All in favor, raise your hand. All right, that is approved.
We do have a couple of bid results. As you may remember, last July, we recommended and you approved the replacement of the main Nutanix virtual server appliance, which is located at the technology office. In order to have 2 data centers and be able to enhance our disaster recovery capabilities and backups for the district's crucial infrastructure, we're recommending the purchase of a second Nutanix virtual server appliance that will be located in Appling. This has been the plan for many years, and Mr. Van Meter and his team have been working on this for quite a while. We will be utilizing a government service administration contract for this purchase. So at this time, we recommend the award to PC Solutions and Integrations in the amount of $194,462.71. This also includes 3 years of support in addition to the equipment. If you have any other questions, I might let Mr. Van Meter answer those.
Have a motion? Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the bid result. Any discussion?
That's a good question. Have we, not having this currently, have we been into a situation or a fire where it became a problem? Like for backups or loss of class time or just, I don't know.
Go for disaster recovery.
Sure.
And then this, 2 of these was always the plan, right?
Yes.
So there's not a third one. Just for making sure.
How many folks do you have still working in Appling?
That's
None? When this goes out there, will anybody go with it?
I mean, we're always out there, we're always going around county. We check on things, but it's done remotely.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favor of approving the bid result, please raise your right hand. Opposed, seeing none, that is approved.
We'll move on to the bid result for the restroom cleaners. As you know, we've been working really hard to standardize a number of areas around cleaning. Our purchasing department reviewed several different types of equipment for the purpose of cleaning restrooms. After a thorough evaluation of a number of those systems, we'd like to recommend the purchase of the 31-2000 RC CR2 restroom cleaners. They're at a cost of $4,190 per cleaner. Each school would receive one of these. We'll be utilizing the interlocal purchasing system contract award through CAMO. So if you have any questions, let me know. I know Mr. Sanders and Ms. Jackson have worked hard on this, and are looking forward to getting these into the schools. But at this time, we would recommend the award to CAMO Manufacturing Company in the amount of $129,890.
Is there any discussion?
What's it like? Is it?
What does it look
I don't think Penny wants to answer this. Well, just let's let Mr. Sanders explain. He's been through the training, right? All right, here you go.
It's shaped or built like a mini auto scrubber. This piece of equipment is designed for especially a small or low pressure washer. It's used for cleaning the grout lines, the tile, the cracks, get disinfectant and sealing tile down. So it's a multi-purpose machine that will really answer or take care of all the problems in the restroom.
Do you anticipate, seeing improvements in the cleanliness of the restroom?
Yes, Mr. D, we tried it in 3 different locations, non-restroom ages from anywhere from 15 to 25 years old, and it works really well.
Easy to operate, a lot of training involved.
Not a lot of training.
Not easy to operate,
Not much at all. It actually worked really well. We started training the first group of legal studies on it today.
The cleaner, is that a separate cost? Or the product itself, the cleaner, is that something we buy separately, or?
Well, it's standard in our chemical supplies for cleaning the buildings now.
Okay,
Yes,
so it'll work with that.
It works fine. The one we picked out was 3 other models were all proprietary cleaners. You could put that on our machine to avoid warranties. So we did pick the machine and we used the current cleaner we had.
And a warranty for these items?
5 years.
Does it do locker rooms as well? I mean, is it just bathrooms?
Well, it can be used on any, we're limiting the bathroom because of cinder block walls. It can use anywhere you've got a cinder block or tile wall. Field houses, stadiums, weight rooms, wherever we need it.
Board member's house? Okay, any other questions?
That was great.
Seeing none, all in favor of approving the bid, raise your right hand. Opposed? Seeing none, that bid is approved.
The annual United Way of the CSRA Stuff the Bus School Supply Drive took place this past Friday, and we're pleased to report that 2 school buses were filled with school supplies to benefit our students. Each year, this school supply drive benefits schools across the CSRA. Special thanks to the United Way of the CSRA for all they do to host this exciting event, and to our bus drivers and volunteers who help unload all of these supplies. Our school social workers are hard at work dividing the supplies to get them to the schools and into the hands of students who need them. Before you are some photos of some of our student volunteers from Greenbrier High School who also came out to help unload the supplies, so kudos to them. The annual Columbia County School District Special Education Services Summer Institute provides special education staff and administrators with an opportunity to discuss and share some of the areas that most frequently impact our special needs population. This year, approximately 167 school leaders and selected staff were provided an opportunity to practice and understand specifically designed instruction, legal issues impacting special education, instructional strategies as well as behavioral supports. Attendees heard from their colleagues as well as other experts in the field to increase their overall knowledge base and to help them better impact our special needs population. And just as a side note, board members, this is also one of the goals that you have through the Institute. And this has gone extremely well. Ms. Gregg and Mr. Pritchett also did a lengthy presentation a couple of days ago, Monday, with our administrators, and that was received very well too. So we're well on our way. We've got a long way to go, but that work is underway, and as you know, we've got a number of additional resources in the budget this year for our special education departments as well as additional staff. So kudos to y'all, and thank you for providing that.
All right, this is the first, right? We've not done this before.
They did it you started this last year, was the first year, but it expanded greatly, and so we're already working on a lot of good feedback. And Mr. Pritchett, you want to say anything about that? Because it really was received well.
Yes, we got great feedback. We had a legal update that was provided on Thursday afternoon for our school administrators and our teachers that attended. That went very well. But Thursday and Friday, we're able to go into design instruction, some behavioral interventions that could be used in class. I've got feedback from all that attended, so we're going to go through that and start making plans for next year's Institute as well.
And it looks like we're using this for.
Oh, absolutely.
That's great.
Yeah, it's a great place. The only place we really had was right here, and it was hard to fit everybody in, so yeah, it's gone very well. Thank you for noticing that. Today, we concluded our annual Back to School Leadership Conference. The event was held at Greenbrier High School with all of our principals and assistant principals hearing important updates for the school year from our district leaders. Most of the people that are sitting in the room had a whole lot to do with that and worked over the summer to get that ready. Our theme for this year is Inspire, and we had a great time welcoming all school leaders to the kickoff on what we know will be our best school year yet. Thanks to all the staff who worked to bring this event together. For all of our dedicated principals and assistant principals, I think they enjoyed it and learned a lot. This week, we look forward to welcoming approximately 180 educators, either new to the profession or new to us, at the annual orientation or kickoff of the new teacher induction program. A lot of people participate in that, but thanks to Mr. Wright and his team for setting this program up every year. It really is something that's not seen in a lot of other places. This is an important opportunity to welcome new staff and share all the support we provide for benefits, payroll, retirement, a lot of other benefits, but also our instructional program. Just what is the ACE and what are the expectations here across our county? Our partners in education helped to make this a great event with a number of exciting door prizes, including a Chromebook awarded to one new employee. So thanks to our partners who helped to fund all of that. This event will take place at Westmont Elementary School on Wednesday, July 24th, beginning at 8 o'clock, and that's the day the county has, but as you know, our new teachers get 3 days to prepare in addition to the regular pre-planning. Ms. Jackson mentioned this, but we're really honored to again host the AAA Schools Open Drive Carefully campaign press conference at North Harlem Elementary. It will begin at 11 a.m. And the public is welcome. And every now and then they let Ms. Jackson speak as well. So we'll see. See if maybe they'll get you on the news this year too. Later this week, our middle and high schools will welcome their rising 6th and 9th grade students for their annual orientation camps. Students will have the opportunity to visit their zone high school, mingle with upperclassmen, tour their school, and engage in other activities before the first day of school. This, coupled with open house, will help our students and parents feel more at home on the first day of school. So we're really looking forward to welcoming them very shortly. Speaking of open house, we're just a week away. Open house kicks off on July 29th with high school from 3 to 5 p.m. and middle school from 5 to 7 p.m., followed by elementary school open house taking place on July 31st from 5 to 7. As a reminder, the first day of school is Monday, August 4th. On a special note, North Columbia will be ready to welcome families for open house, and we look forward to that ribbon cutting that's scheduled for August 19th. And as Ms. Jackson said, they were moving all that equipment, and I actually ran right into Mr. Sanders while I was out at school, while he was carrying boxes up the stairs. So kudos to you and your staff. They were really getting it done today, so the school looks beautiful and we're looking forward to that. The annual back-to-school kickoff will take place next Friday, August 1st. Over 2 sessions, we'll welcome back all employees across the school district. This exciting event will include highlights of the upcoming year, of which you know there are a lot. We are excited to kick off the event with our theme this year, Inspire. We look forward to sharing photos from this event at our next meeting. Board members, the rest of that information or dates is important for you to note. But other than that, this concludes my portion, unless you have any other questions.
I just had a point of clarification. I saw in our board notes, the board retreat's August 14th. Are we definitely good on that date now? Okay, at 4?
At 4 o'clock.
Okay, just making sure, because I knew we had some back and forth. Now, is that open to the public, or is that just the board?
Well, anytime we have a meeting, the public would be allowed to attend, but they wouldn't be able to participate.
Okay.
They would only be able to sit and watch.
And we're not voting on anything at that meeting?
We're not planning any action, but it's just a retreat to discuss some of the things we've talked about in previous meetings.
What are you saying?
We did have somebody fall asleep one time, but it was not a board member or me, so it was good, right? Ask me, I'll remind you.
Motion that we retire to executive session, to discuss legal personnel, real estate matters.
All in favor? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this time the board will go into executive session and we'll return to the meeting after that.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that you execute an affidavit in accordance with state law, confirming that no subject was discussed during executive session that was a violation of the open meeting law of the state of Georgia.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. Or left hand. Okay, you did. All right.
Raise your hand.
Next.
I said I'd like to make a motion that the personnel sheet is discussed in executive session be approved.
All in favor of approving the personnel sheet, please raise your hand. All right. Thank you very much. Are there any other matters to take up at this time?
The only thing I want to say is, Ms. McElhaney passed away. She was at Evans Middle School, gifted math teacher, retired long, I don't know how long ago. Y'all probably don't remember Ms. Jackson.
Oh, what?
Yeah, she was probably one of the best math teachers my kids ever had in Columbia County, and was just very gifted in what she did. So, just pray for, also pray for her family.
Okay.
That said, Mr. Chairman, it seems that now would be an appropriate time to make the motion that we adjourn.
All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen.